Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kyron of Magnetic Service. I've always said this, that we know who is listening, and whether it is in that which you call live now, or whether it is a replay, or whether it's a year from now. Again, I say to you, we know who is watching and listening. And it's in an extremely loving way. Picture for a moment those of you who have children, perhaps that they're grown up. And perhaps they have lives of their own and they're living there. Every mother, every father loves that time when the child calls. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I love you. There are some parents who sit by the phone or have it even close so that if that happens, they'll be sure and catch it. So if they're away, perhaps they'll have a way of taking the message or perhaps even having that live because they take their phone with them in a certain way. Do you see what I'm saying? Spirit sits by the phone. We know as soon as you tune in to these messages, it's almost like you made a phone call. And now we get to talk to you, and you get to talk to us in a way that's with the love that you have that goes both ways. I'd like to start a series about compassion. This channel and the next 3 will be 4 facets or faces of compassion. There are many kinds of compassion, and we're going to talk about 4 related things, subjects, if you might say, facets, kinds of compassion. And they may be different from what you think. You'll see as we go. I'm telling my partner yet again that these 4 channels on compassion will be available for everyone, not just members. And that is the way of it. The channelings should be free, and they will be distributed. There is a place for that. My partner has created it. And eventually, all that happens here in the channeling sections of this program will be available to everyone. So when I say there's going to be 4 of these, 3 others will always be available. This is the first. Let us define compassion. Now, the definition of compassion from me will be different from anything you'll get in your dictionary, because we see compassion as the essence, literally, of the creative source. Love and compassion are the elements of God. Whatever you say God is, whether you call it spirit, creative source, or any name you wish, if you want to know the energy that is most central and most common and most powerful, love and compassion, those are the energies. Together, they form a benevolent kind of compassionate action that we will discuss in another time. Let me give the definition we wish you to hear twice. I'll give it, of how we see compassion. Compassion is the connection with the creative source, with God, with Spirit. It's the connection with Spirit that allows a meld of energy to happen for you, that would give you an open-heartedness, a mature benevolence, and understanding, full understanding of all that is around you. It's different, isn't it? So if you start to analyze that particular definition, you will see the sense of it and the logic of it, because it has several pieces and parts. The connection with Spirit will automatically connect you to your soul and give you a piece of that compassion you need, then to allow a meld with the energies of open-heartedness, with a mature benevolence, not an immature benevolence, a mature benevolence, something that you get from the connection with Spirit, and then goes into an understanding perception of what you're being compassionate about. That is a mature compassion. That is at the heart of everything we teach. The most common compassion would be compassion for others in your life. As you walk around as a light worker or even an interested spiritual person, you have to understand that compassion is the catalyst for everything. Compassion is the thing that moves you into a state of peace that allows for healing. Now, we're going to say that again. We're going to say it again in several channels. And the ones who are featured on these programs, the speakers, the healers, they'll talk about it as well. If you've ever talked to a healer and say, before you go into a healing session or you have another human report to you, whether it's long distance or in front of you, what do you do? And some will say, well, I meditate or I prepare myself. And then if you want to drill down a little more, say, well, what does that mean exactly? Prepare yourself. How do you prepare yourself? What do you do? And they'll start using language like this. I drop into my heart. I have a compassionate countenance. I clear my mind so that I can feel the love and the needs of the person I'm going to talk to, the one I'm going to balance so that they can heal themselves. This is the process for any healer on the planet, especially the ones that interface with other humans day after day, or give readings to the humans to help their heart to become less afraid and more peaceful. They prepare themselves. They drop into their heart. They throw away the intellect. They don't try to figure things out. They just are. Let me tell you something. How many inventors have you heard tell a story that their inventions came not when they were concentrating on the pieces and the parts of the physics or the chemistry? It happened when they were doing something completely and totally unrelated, walking down the street, perhaps going to sleep. And that's when the best ideas happened. It's the same process, dear ones. Compassion and love are the same. You clear all your countenance, and then you can start to have that which is a compassionate heart. And that leads, by the way, right into the ability to heal. Compassion for others is not pity. It is not feeling sorry for anyone. Compassion for another person is you pretending you are there with the answer. And so that is you in their place and not necessarily feeling what they're feeling, but going to them as though you could hug them, even long distance. You have a compassion for others where you don't necessarily do much or feel that which is them as much as you're hugging them. You have a compassion for them like you would have for your child, perhaps, who fell down and bumped their knee. It's not about healing their knee. It's about holding them and loving them so much that they would feel from you something they didn't expect, perhaps something that comes from the other side of the veil. When we get to the fourth attribute, I'm going to explain this, and you're going to know more about that which we're going to name as a facet of compassion. But this is similar to number 4. Compassion for others, the most common thing that you might have, is not necessarily becoming empathetic with them. In fact, that might even be dangerous. If somebody is in horrible sorrow because of the loss of a loved one, and you have the ability to empathize with that, that can affect you. You can see this. If they're afraid, that can affect you. You can see this. But if you stand apart and your whole job is to hug them, even long distance, or to be there for them, sometimes the best compassion you can have in person is to let them talk. If you sit there and love them while they talk to you, that's the highest compassion that you could have at the moment for somebody who is in trouble. If you're doing it long distance for a group who has suffered something together, imagine hugging all of them, giving them peace. What you're sending them and hoping that they can receive with an open heart is that which you receive when you realize that you're being hugged by the Spirit, by God, who knows your name. And so you might project onto them the feeling of peace and understanding so that they would get through whatever it is that they are going through. Or if you're looking at a group or a culture and you have compassion for them, you feel them being hugged through their trial so that they would have far less anxiety and would not be fearful. If you want to have compassion for the planet at this moment, as it works through the puzzle of what you've called the virus, what you want to project there is clear. Peace, understanding, lack of fear. You can do that. You can do that because you have the light that figuratively can be sent even to huge groups through the energy of your peaceful countenance and consciousness. Just lately on this planet, you have proved and continue to prove that consciousness is energy, a player in physics even. Now you know. That is going to be seen even greater as you go. That means that you, as a light worker, can have compassion for others that they can feel, that clears the field around them, that helps them to deal with what they're dealing with. Can you send compassion for the earth? Yes, you can. A group of you, even better, sending compassion. That you get through this without the fear, the anxiety, the things that will actually shorten your life if you're not careful. And that is the answer. Compassion for others on this planet, even one at a time, even planet-wide, bigger than you think, and is the true job and the talent of a light worker listening to this program. That's what you're here for. Consciousness changes this planet. Love is always the answer. I'll be back. And so it is.
And while we are still in this place of the energy of Kyron, let us set an intention that we carry forward this feeling of love and compassion, and that as we move forward, we continue to carry this vibration of joy, this frequency of love and compassion. Lee, I want to thank you for such a beautiful message from Kyron.
Thank you. I think it's just I get excited about the fact that we're going to get 3 more on compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. And it couldn't be a more better theme from Kyron, because our next guest is focusing just on that very subject, self-love and how you do that. And it is Dee Wallace. And Dee, are you there?
I'm here, baby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Was that a yes? I think it was.
I think that was a yes. I'm here.
It was a big one. That's great. This is exciting for us because we haven't been with Dee before. We haven't really met her. It's our first time, just like so many of you. Dee's important message to the world, and I want you to really listen to this because this just allies with everything we teach so much. Listen to her message. Love yourself beyond anyone or anything else. love yourself so much that you can't do anything that doesn't make you love yourself more.
How perfect is that
Let's just sit and
message?
listen to that for a while.
Absolutely. Now, Dee began her channeling healing work over 20 years ago when she dropped to her knees after her husband's sudden death, and she asked for a way we could heal ourselves. Seconds later, she received her first message, which was this: use the light within you to heal yourself. And she has passionately been teaching the art of self-creation ever since.
Dee has authored 5 books on the subject of self-creation. Conscious Creation, The Big E, Bright Light, Getting Stuff, Wake Up Now. She conducts a live call-in internet radio show each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific and offers monthly webinars on a variety of creation subjects.
And Dee has spoken at numerous venues all over the world, including Japan, China, New Zealand, Amsterdam, Australia, England, and of course the United States and Canada. Now, Dee has also appeared on every major news and talk show. She's been featured on E, which I think that's the E Entertainment, and True Hollywood Stories and Oprah.
And before we bring Dee in, it's very
A fun fact.
a fun
Yeah.
fact I'll just give you. She didn't want me to mention this, but I'm doing it anyway, just so you know. She wears 2 profound hats, and you may recognize her as she is a Hollywood actress. She still is a Hollywood actress, and she was featured, of course, in E.T. as the mother. So I'm sorry I said that, but I wanted people to know exactly who you are, so now they can relate. And she's a channeler of all of this work that she does.
Absolutely. So she's been in contact with ETs all along.
All along. Welcome, Dee Wallace.
That was a good segue there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, it's my great joy to be with you. And it's fine to mention ET. And a lot of people follow me for Cujo and the Howling. And, you know, I'm kind of a dichotomy because I spend half my life doing horror films and the other half teaching people how to
heal from the horror movie.
From fear. Yeah. So, you know, I have an interesting and varied and exciting life. And it wasn't always that way. It was always exciting, but wasn't always balanced. I come from a very poor family in Kansas City. My father was an alcoholic most of my life. Ended up committing suicide my senior year of high school. My younger brother committed suicide just a year and a half ago. So a lot of tragedy and a lot of beauty and love. So again, I think that's the dichotomy of all of us, guys, is that yin and yang that we go through fighting ourselves. And when we truly move into loving ourselves in the highest way, we realize that owning all those old stories and keeping ourselves involved in all of the old stories and, oh, I was raped, and oh, I was mistreated as a child, and oh, my dad was an alcoholic, and oh, I've never had any money. And, you know, as long as we keep telling those stories, we keep living those stories. And I want to discuss a little bit about, you see, I've always been a channel. All of us have always been a channel. When you were little, you channeled all the time. And then you learned that it wasn't okay and you had to fit into society and blah, 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 and all the stuff that we're taught that takes our real powers away from us. when I was 7 or 8 years old, again, my family was very poor. My mom had to work all the time. So I would spend most of my days into the early evenings with my grandma. And she and I were very close. She was my best friend growing up until the day she died. And I woke up one night and I said, there's something wrong at Grandma's house, and Grandma's not okay. Now, my mom had to get up at 5:30 every morning to go to work because she had to take 2 buses. And I went in to wake her up. It was like midnight, probably. And I said, Mommy, wake up. Something's wrong at Grandma's house. Something's not. And she said, what do you mean, sweetheart? I said, I just woke up and I just know something's not okay at Grandma's house. We need to go see if everything's okay. Well, God loved my mother. She got up and called, and Grandma didn't answer. And God loved my mother. We got in the car and we drove over to Grandma's at like 1:30 in the morning. And when we got in, the cat had gotten up on the stove and turned all the burners on. So the house was filling up with gas.
Wow.
And Grandma was okay. Who knows if Grandma would have been okay?
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things, you know, we tell our kids, oh, do you have an imaginary little play friend? Right? Well, that's all an early form of channeling. And what I want everybody to know is all the energy, everything hangs out right above us. And all of that information is open to absolutely anybody who asks. In the good book, it says, ask and you receive. What most people don't know, however, is that ask in the original Hebrew means claim or demand. So it means this will be delivered to me. Not, oh gosh, am I worthy? And if I wait long and if I do all the right stuff, then could I? That's not what it means. It means I am consciously choosing what I want. I am saying that I am the creation of it, along with the greatest creative force, because we're all one energy. And I am demanding now that this be delivered unto me. So that's one of the premises that my work is based on. The most important premise is the I am principle. God said, I am that I am. I have to say I'm God if I'm God. I have to claim that definition of myself. I had to say I am an actress before I could be an actress. So most of us don't really understand the importance of choosing our thoughts, our feelings, and our perceptions. We think thoughts are things that happen, and feelings are just things that happen to us that we get. It's not true. And the more consciously you choose what you want to think, what you choose to feel, and what your perceptions are that you want to own, the more your life gets created in the way you want it to be created. So let me start with everything is energy. You learned that in 5th grade. Everything is energy. Energy's been here from the beginning of time. It will be here forever. Energy must have direction. And if we are not directing energy in a conscious way, it will pick up direction from anything. from a television commercial, from the fear of your family, from old antiquated religious teachings. But it will accept and absorb and follow direction, whether you give it consciously or not. So anything that comes after I am is a direction to energy. You get up and say, oh my God, I'm so tired today. You are saying, I am the God of me who is tired. And the universe says, yes, Master, I will match that. You get up and say, you know, I never have enough money. I am the God of me who never has enough money. And the universe says, yes, we will match that. You get up and say, I am powerful and I know and I'm clear and I love myself. And the universe goes, yes, we will match that. So it's incredibly important to know that it all begins with us. It all begins inside us so that we become in alignment with the very things we want. So if I want money, I don't look out there. I don't look at my job. I don't look at my boss or my paycheck first. I look within me. Am I in alignment? And am I the frequency of money itself? So I'm going to give you a really easy way to create anything. According to my channel, and somebody called into my show on Sunday mornings and said, Dee, who do you channel? I said, I don't know, let's ask. And the answer was all thought and all possibility. And I said, well, that's my definition of God. So I channel God. But you know, I think we all channel God. No matter what we call it, an angel, a guide, a certain name, it's all God, because everything is energy and we're all part of the one energy, all of us. So I teach everybody to have a love place. And a love place is so easy. It's anything you think of that opens your heart and makes you smile. I go right to my doggy Freedom. She's my soulmate. I think of Freedom and I just go, So everybody take a moment to find your love place. Animals are great. Places in nature that you love, tiny babies. You see, all of those things are unconditional, aren't they? They're just where you go to feel loved. So go to your love place, drop into your heart, and go to your love place and just really kind of wallow in that for a minute. And let's just say we're working on money, okay? So you go to your love place, you take a deep breath in to the count of 3 or 4. Really push those ribs out. And with a smile on your face, you exhale while you're saying any mantra that you want. Let's use I am money. So deep breath in, smile. As you exhale, you say to yourself, I am money. I am money. Another deep breath. Smile. I am money. And the more excitement, the more love, the more feeling you have behind it, the more the universe gets it. Now, you notice I didn't say I want money. I didn't say I'm creating money. I didn't say, bring me money. I said, I am money, because we are all the creation of ourselves and our lives, all of us. The second principle I want to talk about is As you believe, it's going to be delivered to you, baby cakes. Like Einstein said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. What your belief systems are dictate the direction of energy in your life. So I tell everybody, go back to their childhood, start at the age of conception through about 8 years old. Why 8? Because scientifically they've proven that how we see ourselves and how we see ourselves in the world pretty much solidified in our brains by 8 years old. Mm-hmm. So if you keep running into the same walls and you can't seem to break through, I guarantee you it's because of belief systems that have been in place since you were little. And let me be sure to talk about this point, that most of us create these beliefs at a very early age, and then we build on them through our entire life. The belief always comes first, and then you see the manifestation of that belief in your life. So go back to the age of conception to 8. What was going on in your family? Staying on the subject of money, what did your parents tell you about money? Did they tell you, go on, Dee, make all the money in the world. You deserve it. You just make money hand over fist. You can do it. And it's beautiful. It's a fabulous thing to have all that. I bet not. I bet not. Because we're erroneously taught, and this goes back eons and eons and eons when the popes and the kings and everybody got into bed with each other and thought, well, we can't let them know how much power of their own creation they have, right? So money has no consciousness. Money is a form of an exchange of energy. However, your consciousness gets to decide what to do with your money. And so when you know that you're going to share beautiful things with your family and be able to support all of the wonderful programs out there that you're interested in, like I donate a lot of money to the animals because I love animals. I donate a lot of money to tree people to help all of the forest fires and their demise of everything out here in California in the last 2 years. I donate a lot of money to Save the Children. And, you know, every time I do an acting job, I look for who's the person on this set that lives what I teach, that lives love and encouragement and tries to help everybody. And I always find that person, and I just wrote it out just now. I always send them a tithe and thank them for living the love and the care that is so important in creating our world. So what I find from doing thousands now of private sessions, spiritual people are afraid of their power. And that is old religious beliefs being held over. And I'm coming forward to say to you today, if those of us who are conscious and who are expanding our love and our knowing of the interconnection of all energy. If we don't come forward in our power now, the people who don't know those things and are not interested in those things will. And then we want to sit back and judge them. But if we're not coming forward, then we have no right to judge the world that we are living in. The other really important thing for you to know is that whatever consciously you do in the creation of yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you look out and see a world of love, the higher integrity you are, the more dignity, the power through divine love you are. The more you are those things, the more you affect all other energy, because we're all interconnected. And so when the majority of energy comes together and really starts focusing on love and gratitude, compassion. Compassion, of course, according to my channel, is the highest source of love. And I have a great story about compassion. My heart doctor, I always get a physical every 2 years. I'm a big believer in preventative medicine. And he said, well, you know, there's some things on these tests we're a little worried about, Dee. There's some markers that are very concerning. So we want you to go in and do this big, I can't remember the name of it, but they put the dye in you and they put you through the tube. And I was reading Dawson Church's Mind to Matter at the time. And he talks a lot about compassion in that book. And I thought, I'm just going to lay here and I'm going to love my heart. I'm just going to give my heart and me as much compassion and unconditional love as I can. And I got lost in that 30 minutes of experiencing that. So an hour later, I go to the doctor's office and I sit down. He goes, I don't know what to tell you, Dee. I don't know if we got false reports. There's nothing that we saw before is on this test of all tests. So I told him about what I had done. My heart doctor is a Sikh, so very open to hearing about my work. And he said, I believe that. I believe that we can alter our bodies through love.
Beautiful.
Now they've proven all the scientists that are working with this, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, they've all actually done scientific tests where they can prove now that most of what we thought was genetic is really because we keep telling our stories. And the more, I love the way Bruce Lipton, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure I'm not going to get it right, but he says, a body in love is vital. A body in hate or anger is threatened. Because this is our physical universe, our body. So every thought, every feeling, every perspective you have has an electrical signal. Our hearts are electrical. Our brains are electrical. When we feel something triggered by a thought, those electrical impulses shoot out into the universe and within to our bodies.
Dee, I want to tell you right now, the reason you haven't heard anything from us for all this time is we don't interrupt channeling. I can tell where you're coming from and what you're doing. All the points you've hit are what we teach. I'm so happy. Oh, this is just amazing. And we're in a situation now, and I don't want to run out of time. I want you to tell people about your show, about your website, and how they can. Okay?
Boy, it went that quick, did it?
Yes, ma'am.
My website is iamdeewallace.com. Can't get much easier than that. I'm telling you guys, everything on my site is incredibly affordable. There are webinars and teachings of every single subject that you would want to have help discerning and expanding in. My radio show is every morning. It's a free call-in show, every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. The easiest way is to go to the homepage on iamdeewallace.com. Right on the homepage, there's information about the radio show and a link to help you get there. We do webinars every month. My one in February is February 23rd.
All right.
And it's on channeling.
Couldn't be more perfect.
It's just all of this. It's just, we certainly have had you at the right time to have the channel today about compassion, and all of the things that Kyron has said is that she has echoed.
Yes.
This is just, this is what we teach. Dee, thank you. This is just awesome. Do you want to have any final words for our listeners and our watchers?
Yeah, just love yourself, guys. You want your life to change. Love yourself and love yourself and love yourself more, because that's what it's all about.
I hope everybody will take this program and watch it again. And just fast forward to her part. And watch this and listen. Write it down if you have to, because these are words that drip with profundity and truth for life and everything we are about today. So she has synthesized it in about 25 minutes of what I've done for 31 years. So this